Hi, Virgo Sun and Rising. Welcome to your January 2021 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So every January, the Sun begins the month in your sign, and the Sun is in Capricorn. Capricorn is a fellow Earth sign. It forms a trine to your Sun or Rising, which is a very friendly angle, and it's coming from the fifth house, which is so much fun. Actually, the Sun rules the fifth house in the sign of Leo. So, this idea of pleasure is fifth house. The idea of enjoyment, in other words, and this can involve recreational activities. Of course, if you live like me in the Midwest, that involves putting on snowshoes. Actually, I've never worn snowshoes, but boots and hiking in the snow or something like that. It certainly isn't a time when we're going to the beach, but if you live in places where you can do that, obviously that's a reality for you. But I mean, it doesn't have to be that you're doing something specific. It can just be your attitude is very playful. The fifth house is the house of children, and so it can even be your inner child coming out to play. It's the house of creativity, which I do feel is when you're really tuned into your inner child. You bring that out naturally, because if you look at children, a lot of times their first impulse is to create something, is to like draw a picture, and it's not because somebody's telling them to do it. They just have this creative impulse. And that creative impulse may be strong in you as well, especially if you are artistically inclined. This can be a good time for artistic output. Um, so the sun is there, and on the 6th of the month, Mars goes into Taurus, which is a fellow Earth sign as well. And so you have this Earth energy surrounding you. Now that's coming from the other side. So that's the Earth sign behind you. So that will be the ninth house, and that is a house of higher education, long distance travel. You may feel this itch for traveling. And sometimes, because it is also higher learning in this house, and because you are a Virgo, you may combine the two. They may be like a vacation where you just want to learn the history of some country. I think I tend to believe that a Virgo person going on vacation will tend to enjoy going to like a city and putting on headphones and taking a guided tour and things like that, rather than just sitting on a beach with a drink that has an umbrella in it. I mean, you might like to do that as well, but you tend to be very intellectually motivated. So if you work at a university, maybe there's some kind of a conflict. Mars can be like um, some kind of like problem with disagreement. Also, another thing to note is that this can be if you are in academia yourself. If you're the professor, for instance, and you're clashing with somebody. Also, if you are enrolled as a student, or you're trying to be, and you're being told you can't do it, or if you have graduated, you want your credits, you want your transcript, something along those lines. But it can just be like greater action in this area. On the 8th, Mercury goes into Aquarius, and this is the area for you that is your own house, the sixth house. So Mercury rules the sixth house because Mercury rules you. And the sixth house, as a lot of you probably know, is connected to health matters, is connected to, diet, your daily routine, the daily grind, the work that you're doing. Mercury is going to retrograde here. I'll talk about that in a minute in this house. So there might be, if you're like looking for work, you could hear back from perhaps, during the Mercury retrograde, somebody that you applied, someplace that you applied to 6 months ago and never, maybe nothing happened then. And then they say, are you still available? So, but Mercury here could be you talking to potential employers and filling out applications. Mercury can be those contracts or that paperwork. Thinking about your diet, reading about, researching diet and health issues. Also on the 8th, Venus goes into Capricorn, so Venus goes into your 5th house. That can be a situation of some romantic goings on. You have the sun there, you have Venus there. Mercury is also in this sector for the first 8 days of the month. So talking to somebody that you find that you're interested in. Venus can be appreciating the arts. The 5th house may be things that you're doing for fun, like going to art galleries if anything is open in January. Oh boy. On the 13th, we have a new moon here, and so new beginnings in this area. Again, if you're artistically inclined, that can be good for that. But also, if you are looking for a love situation, maybe you're starting some kind of relationship of some sort. But it's great for even the 5th house can be the business that you own, so it's great for that as well. The very next day, the 14th, Uranus turns direct, but the significance is it's at 6 degrees of Taurus. When I was, I think I was doing a personal reading at the time, and I was looking at that. I also happened to notice that Mars was also at that degree. And the reason that jumped out at me is that to have Uranus go direct on the very same day that it's forming an exact conjunction with Uranus and Taurus, Mars and Taurus, makes me think that people, no matter who they are going to feel this desire to break free from their circumstances. Now, in your case, because this can involve the 9th house, this can be, a very abrupt action. Mars can be very rash. And Uranus is very rebellious. Uranus and Mars may have that in common, but Uranus can be kind of like sudden, surprising, and things like that. And it can just lead for this desire to break free from something once and for all. So if this is, for instance, you having taught at a university and you're tired of the way you're being treated, maybe you've been trying to get tenure and they're just, keeping you hanging on with these adjunct positions, and you feel like you don't have any benefits or what have you, and then you just break free from it. You may not even know if you are going to, maybe you don't have any other source of income, but you just can't take it any longer. Whatever it is. Maybe you do say, I'm going to take that trip. And you just have to leave. There might just be this really strong desire to just leave. It's interesting, in the tarot, the Fool card is connected to Uranus. And I think and of course the Fool card is 0 in the deck. And I think that one thing that we can say about that, why this may be the case, is that Uranus is kind of a blank slate. The 0 is a blank slate. And Uranus is a sense of maybe, wanting to be so different, wanting something completely new, that is not cookie cutter, that is like completely your own. And having that canvas that the 0 represents, the 0 meaning the pure potential. So perhaps that is something that is really pulling at you. And perhaps this has already kind of come into play because you do have Uranus in that 9th house as it is. So I could see some Virgo people, especially with this shutdown situation. If you have been already working from home, you might become a digital nomad because Uranus connects to technology and the ninth house travel. So that's the perfect combination for that. And you might be saying, why am I even here? I don't have to be physically in this town or city. I can go, or in this country. I can go somewhere else. And I've wanted to go. I wanted to go on vacation. Maybe I'll have a working vacation. On the 19th, the sun goes into Aquarius, into that house that you rule, sixth house. So you're very organized. Of course, you're already going to be that way, being a Virgo. Of course, some Virgos are not textbook Virgos. I've met some in my day, at least one person. So maybe organization is something that the outliers among the Virgos really need. But you just might be very into getting all your ducks in a row, into organizing your life. You know, this is a progression, the chart. And so you had the sun in the fifth house, you had your time for fun, and now it's down to brass tacks. On the 28th, the full moon is at 9 degrees of Leo. So Leo is the sign right before you. This is the 12th house. So this is a very kind of, what would we say, psychic place. Full moons can be very psychic, and 12th house can be the dream state. So you might have a prophetic dream or two. Cutting out that which is self-destructive. Now, I will say too that this is for the first 9 degrees of Virgo, Sun or rising. The other people may have this in the 11th house, which is the humanitarian house. And this can be, cutting off ties to networks or coming to a head with them in some way, friendships and group associations. Perhaps there is something, because even the ninth house can be cultural affairs. Maybe there's something going on where you are butting heads with people that are promoting certain educational or cultural things, and you just feel like you're going in a different direction as them. Full moon in the 11th house can also be maybe a gathering of women of some sort. Maybe there's some kind of a festival, but definitely because the moon represents the feminine, and the 11th house is the collective. So if for instance, if anybody has, like, if a woman has the moon in her natal chart in the 11th house, she may have a lot of female friends. This is kind of the thing. Well, this is a temporary situation since it's a transit, but it might speak to some kind of connection with women. Now, it could be even online. On the 30th, we have that Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury is your ruler. Do you, Virgo, have a tendency to feel Mercury retrogrades more than the average person? I don't know. You tell me. So this is going to be at 26 degrees of Aquarius. Again, it's going to be in that house that you rule, the sixth house. So that's why I said, Mercury can bring up things from the past or people from the past that you hear back from. This is the work sector, maybe hearing back about some job that has opened up that you thought was something that you didn't get, but maybe you're getting it after all. Or maybe there's some kind of misunderstanding between you and a coworker, or some kind of thing that has to do with, a contract. Some people do work contracts, and you have to like alter or edit this contract. or just negotiation between you and your employer about something. Yeah, I mean, it could be something along those lines. And if you are going to be traveling, you might have, I mean, if you're going to be traveling for the company, on behalf of the company, or if you have decided to just work from a different location, there may be some paperwork that you have to do to kind of go into this next phase. Who knows how it's going to entail? But remember that Mercury retrogrades only last a few weeks. So anything that happens, if it is a little bit hectic or confusing, this too shall pass. Okay, that's what I have for you, Virgo. I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like to look at 2021, if you'd like your natal chart interpreted, I have a moon in Virgo. I'm very into details, but you can check out what I have to offer at the link below. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.